Cyclone Biparjoy has now finally made its landfall. It hit Gujarat's Kutch district and is now barreling further inwards into India. Now, according to the Met Department, it is moving at a speed of over 120 to 140 kilometers per hour. Now, for the unversed, this is one of the most powerful tropical storms to have hit India in recent decades. It has triggered powerful winds, storm surges, and also lashing rains. As we speak, this rain is hammering a 325-kilometer stretch of the coast between Mandavi in Gujarat and Karachi in Pakistan. Remember, this is a cyclone that is targeting both India and Pakistan. Now, look at these images. They are from the coastal town of Mandavi. They show the flooded streets and also the swaying trees. Emergency teams are conducting the rescue operations. Now, the situation is no different in Dwarka, the gateway to Gujarat. The entire city has come to a virtual standstill. Shops are shut. The roads are completely empty as the high tidal wave is pounding the coastal areas. And also in the maximum city, the city of Mumbai, the tides are said to be higher than usual. Images show them pounding the city's iconic Marine Drive. Now, reports say that nearly about 1,600 fishing boats and about 5,000 merchant vessels have been shepherded to safety. Now, if we speak in terms of the overall measures, a total of 94,000, that's almost about 100,000 people in the most vulnerable of the areas have been evacuated and have been taken to safer shelter homes. At least about 4,000 hoardings have been taken down in the affected districts. Over 200,000 animals and cattle have been evacuated to higher ground, and about 25 teams of the National Disaster Relief Force, or the NDRF, have been deployed across the states of Gujarat and Maharashtra. In the state of Gujarat, the state disaster management authorities have deployed about 6 ham radio teams. Now, such radios are used when communication networks fail and electricity cannot be guaranteed, because when wind speeds over 150 kilometers per hour, it is quite inevitable that a lot of the areas could also experience power outages as well. Now, the Indian Army has been deployed, more than 27 relief columns across the state of Gujarat. Now, these teams consist of divers and swimmers as well. The Indian Navy has kept all of its 8 Coast Guard stations in Gujarat on the highest state of readiness. Reports say that at least about 15 ships and 7 aircraft will be available round the clock for the rescue operations, and the next few hours are going to be critical in terms of the devastation this cyclone can in fact wreak in the coastal parts of Gujarat. Simply put, the authorities, the Indian authorities at this moment are fully prepared to deal with this cyclone. Now, this is the 4th such cyclone to have impacted the coastal part of Gujarat in the last 5 years. And this brings into focus India's standard operating procedures to deal with these kind of storms. Now, you see, there was a time when cyclones could wreak complete havoc at the time that they would strike. But then again, the governments since the last 2 decades have put in place certain standard operating procedures to ensure that these cyclones do not come and cause complete havoc as they did before. Now, they're no longer as big a threat as what they used to be just about 2 odd decades ago. The turning point was, of course, the 1999 super cyclone that happened in Odisha. It hit the state with wind speeds of over 250 kilometers per hour, and it caused the deaths of at least about 10,000 people. We were talking about 1999 in the Indian state of Odisha. It also resulted in heavy damage, and it left a trail of devastation in its path. The devastation turned out to be a bit of a wake-up call, and it forced the authorities in India to develop a comprehensive plan to deal with cyclones. And today, it is important to say this, that the cyclones, no matter how powerful, are not as devastating as they were before, because the governments in place have now put in place certain mitigating factors to ensure that people are not that badly affected. These plans that are in place reduce the damage that is caused by the cyclones considerably, especially in terms of human lives. We'll tell you how about in a bit, but first, let's in fact break down the strategy for you. It consists of a three-layered mechanism. The first layer deals with the software. It's an early warning system, so what this does is it alerts the locals. It also allows the local administration to put in place the evacuation plans and the conduction of drills and dissemination of information at the very earliest. The second layer involves the building of hardware. This involves the creation of shelters, of construction of embankments, and also the setting up of weather instruments. The third layer concerns making the coastal infrastructure more reliant. This involves taking critical infrastructure such as power transmission lines or water supply lines underground and ensuring that the railway networks and airports do not get inundated. Now, this three-layered mechanism that has been put in place over the course of the last 2 decades has reduced the amount of devastation that is caused by cyclones considerably. Now, just look as to how the last few big cyclones have been dealt with. In 2016, Cyclone Vardha hit the state of Tamil Nadu. Now, prompt warnings and more preparedness measures facilitated the evacuation of people from the vulnerable areas, and it restricted the death toll of Cyclone Vardha to only 18. In 2019, Cyclone Fani struck the coast of Odisha with wind speeds of about 175 kilometers per hour. And yet, this time round, the state of Odisha was way better prepared than what it was in 1999. And Cyclone Fani caused minimal damage to human lives. In 2020, Cyclone Amphan hit the Bay of Bengal. The state administration was, of course, quick to react. It made enough and adequate plans so that it was able to evacuate 1.5 lakh people, that is 150,000 people, before the cyclone made its landfall. And that is the crucial difference. And this time too, India is fully prepared to reduce the damage that storm Biparjoy, which literally translates to disaster, can cause. But to achieve this, we all, each one of us, will have to do our bit. If the cyclone happens to be passing through your area, it's important to remember this. Don't venture out. Keep yourself updated. Follow the instructions given by your local administration. And above all, stock up. Because remember, unlike in the past when cyclones such as this used to cause enormous devastation in terms of human lives, at this moment, with the amount of intelligence that we've got and also with the infrastructure that has been put in place over the course of the last decades, it is no longer needed that we go through the same pain and devastation that cyclones were able to unleash in the past. And cyclones, even when they come, will come and pass by with minimal destruction. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.